pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad that you can make it here for the Clerk and Treasurer webinar that we're putting on. For those of you who don't know, I am Jeff Krueger. I'm your Executive Director for the Minnesota Association of Townships. And coming up on my first year, I'm going to be going over, normally I would have done a little bit of a Matt Basic part of my PowerPoint and then gone into a legislative update. I'm going to skip the basic part and go right into the legislative update because I have a annexation hearing that I need to get going to this morning. And so I have to stop at around 8:20. And I'm actually going to have my phone out here so I can make sure that, that I'm not late for that either. So anyways, I will try and go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. I would decide to put my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing here. Come on. There. Kristen, can you just see the one slide?
Yep, looks good.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, without further ado, I will go in and or start talking about what we're doing at the legislature. A lot of stuff going on this spring, and it's been very busy. I'm actually testifying 5 times this week. I had 2 testimonies yesterday. I have 2 today, and I have 1 tomorrow. And I'll kind of go over some of those things as we hit that particular slide. First thing that we have is for Planning and Zoning Authority. This is just what we call a cleanup bill. Steve Fensky, our general counsel, had found some redundancy in chapters 366 and chapters 462. And they pretty much said the same thing. And what was confusing about it is that which chapter do we go to? And because you usually don't want to have, multiple listings of these powers. And so we went in and asked for bills, Senate file, SF stands for Senate file 3016 and HF or House file 3175 to be pushed forward. Both of these have passed both the House and Senate and are actually on their way to the governor's desk for his signature. And when that's going to happen, I'm not really sure. But essentially what this does is just repeals sections of chapter 366 that is identical to sections in 462. And so your powers, your authority as a township regarding planning and zoning, if you have those, if you took those on and didn't give that out over to the county, those will not change in any way. So you won't feel a difference to that, but it just looks cleaner, neater within state statute. LRIP has been pretty much what I've been spending my time on this week. I testified twice yesterday on that. I will have another testimony tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock in another Senate committee hearing. I'm not even sure which committee it is, but yesterday was in front of state gov for the Senate and local gov for the House. But anyways, what LRIP is, if some of you may not know, it's a local road improvement program, and a lot of you had submitted applications for the $80 million that was appropriated by the state legislature last year for that particular program. And we had 425 applications that were submitted by all 4 local governments, meaning county, large cities, small cities, and townships. 184 of those came from townships, so about 40%, which is significant because usually we have like 20, 22 applications when we do that. This year, we're expecting potentially a lot more going into LRIP. I say potentially, and I'll never say anything more than that until it's actually done, just because of our experience last year that things get tossed into the wind, especially at the last second with the omnibus bill when they're pushing things through, and anything can change at the drop of a hat. And but we are hoping for even more money this year. But anyways, because we do partake in this program, we feel that townships should have a say on the advisory board. So there is an advisory board that talks to MnDOT that helps advises them on which grants or which applications should be granted funding for their projects. Everything is already split via the verbiage that the plan has, that the LRIP plan states. That a third go to counties, third goes to large cities, and then a third is split up between small cities and townships. And that's just how it goes right now. Even though the program says a local road improvement program, in the definition of the program, it's for roads of regional significance. Well, as you are probably aware, most townships do not have roads that would fit into that category that actually have regional significance. And so, but what they have done, the program has done, they have expanded it because we used to not be able to take part in that at all. But they have expanded it where they're essentially throwing us a bone and giving us some dollars out of this. So we actually got 15 projects funded last year. And actually, I think that'll actually take place this year, the actual funding of it. But it's to the tune of about $10 million. So it's not insignificant dollars. And we'll take whatever we can get because we don't get normal state funding. And we'll talk about that in a little bit too. But just want to let you know that, so we are looking at getting one township officer on the LRIP advisory board and to help advise MnDOT on what applications to grant the funding for. Tow truck rate exemption, I testified on this just a few weeks ago. And basically what this was, again, it's a little snafu in state statute that every time a tow truck driver went out to capture a disabled vehicle during the spring weight exemptions that most of us have, that they were technically in violation of state law. And so they were hoping that we would agree to this change in state statute so that they would no longer be felons. And well, actually, felons, I think that's a federal thing. But anyways, they would not be outside of the state statute in this. And so I did testify saying that we are neutral on this, meaning that we don't have an opposition. But I did want to make it clear to the legislature that, because we do experience weight exemptions from other things, it seems like all the time, almost like it's not really every year, but it seems like it's every year there's another weight exemption that the state legislature is granting. Well, and these are essentially unfunded mandates because these trucks do damage our roads, and we get no funding to help repair these roads that are being damaged. And so, even though this statute this bill does make sense. And we did oppose it. Like I said, I just want to make sure that the legislature knew that, we do need to have funding, if they continue to do this, or even if they don't continue to do this, we still need funding for it. Annexation. I have an annexation hearing again in 20 minutes? Well, it's actually 8:30, but I have to get going in 10 minutes. And then we have two annexation bills that are out there right now. One was both were authored by Kiffmeyer, and actually I take it back. Anyways, this one here, Senate File 1969, is chief author is Senator Mary Kiffmeyer. It's an elections bill. Basically, this is what the townships used to have pre-1992, and where if a city wanted to annex any property of the townships, the property owners would be able to vote on whether or not they wanted to be part of the township or part of the city. Makes sense. That's what our country's founded on. Well, back then, the coalition of Greater Minnesota cities, they were able to be successful and got a bill through in the middle of the night, and were able to get that reversed or get that changed and taken out. And so townships no longer had that possibility. And so because of that, we've run into the problem that we have today, annexation by ordinance, and where cities can just take the property, and doesn't matter what the property owner wants, and it doesn't matter what the townships want. And so we're looking to rectify that and bring fairness back into the situation. And so like I said, we have the hearing today. It's more of an informational hearing. Informational hearing means that there will not be a vote on it, which is not conducive to what we're looking for. We want to have a vote. We want to get this thing moved through committee, but we're taking some other avenues to see what else we can do in this. The other annexation bill is actually authored by Senator Bruce Anderson, and the House file 4109 is by John Hewitt. Both of them in the House are being authored by John Hewitt. And this one is really the one that we're looking for. And in that both of them would be good. But Bruce Anderson's bill is that we encourage annexation early annexation. And this one actually will make it so that that annexation has to happen through a contract, through early annexation. And so that it forces the townships and the cities to talk to each other and come to some type of meeting of the minds. We have a modified detachment proceeding that's in this bill, but it just prohibits the city just from going in and just taking it just because they want to, and they want to do a land grab and to fill up their coffers with higher tax properties. And so those are the two bills that we have going on right now with annexation. Hopefully we can get some leeway in that, but time will tell. Right now we're actually just getting into that part of it. Road funding, I've testified a few times on this, and there are actually, again, two bills. One is authored by Senator Scott Newman. This one is authored by Senator Jeff Howe, and this is the one that we want. Senate File 3086, the companion bill HF 3646 by Representative Swedzinski. This one allocates 12% of the auto parts sales tax to townships. And then there's another 12% of that would be allocated to small cities. Small cities right now, they don't get any state funding at all either. So we've kind of teamed up in trying to push this bill forward. And what's nice about this is that, 12%, okay, what does that really mean? In fiscal year 2023, 12% of auto parts sales tax, keep in mind that what our goal has always been is $20 million in additional funding. Right now we get just under $60 million. And we're looking for an additional $20 million. 12% of auto parts sales tax for fiscal year 2023 alone would garner about $37.5 million. And all the way up to 2025 would be just over $40 million. So it will grow. It will increase as all prices increase, and also people are fixing their cars more often. So this is definitely a great way. This is what we've been looking for, that dedicated, consistent, sustainable funding on an annual basis, year over. And so that's what we're hoping to really get this thing pushed through. This is the other bill, the Senator Scott Newman bill. This one dedicates 100% of auto parts sales tax to the HUTDF, which is the Highway User Trust Fund. And this one would still give us more money. And I think it actually amounts to, instead of 12%, our part of it with the HUTDF is only 3%. So it's going to be significantly less, more than what we're getting now. But still, we're definitely hoping for the Jeff Howe bill, and that's one we've been pushing for. Dish maintenance, I'm actually going to be testifying on this later today, this morning, actually. And again, this is a Senator Scott Newman bill. And this one is a one-time appropriation for fiscal year 2023, next year. And this will give grants. So it will be on a grant basis. So we will have to apply, but for counties and townships to help repair their ditches. And once if this thing does go through, we're going to want to get that out to all the townships so that you can make your applications. And then I'm not sure as far as who's going to make that determination, as far as which applications are going to be picked or not. So that's still a TBD to be determined. But we'll of course let you know all the specifics on that if and when it does pass. This is my last slide, and it's good because I have 5 minutes. There's a little bit on this thing here. ARPA reporting. I forgot to mention this during yesterday's legislative updates, so you're getting this one firsthand. Reporting deadline right now is still April 30th, and that's nothing new. I've actually been in talks with Treasury a few times and trying to get that pushed back a few months. And just because, as some of you may have known, if you've gone onto the Treasury website, it's messed up. and the data is incorrect. If you go to your township, you might see things, people that are from a neighboring city or some other township and whatever. So it's just really kind of messed up. And last I heard, Treasury does not have a fix for it. They don't know how to fix it. And I've talked with MMB, the Minnesota Management and Budget Office. They've assured us that, in fact, both Lori and I talked with them yesterday or 2 days ago, and they've assured us that the data itself was clean when they sent it over to Treasury, and so they know that that's not where the problem is. But other states have reported the same issues, so it's not just us. So I know that MMB did not make this error. It is in whatever the Treasury did with this. But because of all this snafu and the fact that they don't know how to go about doing this, we need to have this thing pushed back. Right now, the deadline is still April 30th. But just so you know, I just wanted to make you aware that I am working to try and get this thing pushed off a few months. Right now, you should have received an email about actually two different emails, one from Treasury, one from MMB, Minnesota Management and Budget Office, asking you to submit documents to both that supported your application. Whether you had us do the reporting or whether you did it yourself, you should have had 3 documents, and those documents can be found on our website. And I think Kristen will probably put up a link into the chat for that as well. And but those documents should have already been done and signed by your board. But those documents just need to be submitted to both MMB and Treasury. The email that you receive from MMB is specific to you, to your township. So you want to make sure that you use that specific email and link when you go back in and submit those documents. Treasury, right now you cannot report to Treasury. You can submit documents if your information is correct. The reporting part of itself for Treasury does not start until April 1. So that's not even open and available to people. But submitting of documents, the supporting documents, is what is open. But again, that's where the data can be incorrect. And it's been very confusing for people. People are asking, why do we have to submit to both? Well, technically, I found out from Treasury when I talked with them is that MMB should have been collecting all this stuff at the time of application. But for those of you who did the application yourself, you notice that they had check boxes, and they said that if you agree with whatever it is, Title VI or whatever the Civil Rights Act thing is, and also that you accept the dollars, and that you have the supporting documents for your 2019 expenses or 2020 budget, whichever number you used as your top number. They should have been collecting that all along. But they thought that they could, and they actually were doing us a favor, making it a lot easier, simplifying the application process. But Treasury didn't like that. And so now they're kind of backpedaling. That's why they were asking for all the documents to be sent to them by March 11th, which was last Friday. You're not going to be penalized if you didn't already put it in. We do ask that you get those documents submitted as soon as you can. And that brings me to the third line here. Can the MAT office report for me? And I know, and I owe you a big apology, and it's nothing of our doing as far as the MAT office. This program was always designed that there was an administrative portion of it, and that you could pay, you as townships could fund that administration with your ARPA dollars. That's why we were able to apply for you. And my talks with Treasury, my talks with MMB, that's the way that it was designed. Somewhere along the line, someone decided to change the rules on us. And so right now, the way it shows, like again, with the MMB and submitting those documents, that email is specific to you, to your township. And we don't have access. There's not a general email that we could just go into on your behalf and submit those documents. And so MMB is working on that to try and we're trying to figure out a whole bunch of stuff here just so we can make it easier for our townships. And the thing with Treasury too, because with the verification of your identity and so forth, why they're making it more difficult to report on what you've already spent the money on than it was when you actually received the dollars, and they're making it tougher. That makes no sense to me. But again, that's all part of why I want this thing pushed back a few months, because somebody was not thinking and doing this. They certainly didn't ask me. in my opinion, not that I would expect them to. But anyways, those are some of the things that we're working on with that. But there is going to be a Treasury webinar on March 21st. There will be a link to that in the newsletter that I think is coming out this week from, I think, Kristen. If it's already out, Kristen can post a link in the chat. If not, just look for that in your email. And then you click on that link and on March 21st and watch that webinar. Apparently, there also was another webinar that was just posted. We're going to review that. We don't know what's really in it. If there's any help, any information that could be helpful to you, we'll certainly pass that on as well. But that is all I have right now. And look at that, I'm only 1 minute past my hard stop time. I apologize. I am going to have to leave. I can't take any questions. But feel free to email us or email the office, and I'll be sure to answer your questions at that time. But thank you very much for attending today. And I hope that you find it useful, and let us know your feedback. Thank you. Bye-bye.